Okay, today we're installing it, the Rheem Ikonic tankless water heater. We've got our bracket up here. It's secured to the studs, 2x6 right into the 2x4s. Plenty of support. We're going to go ahead and hang that up here, then secure it to the wall, then we begin hooking it up. Okay, we've got the water heater hanging up on the bracket. Now we're going to throw some screws in the upper and lower brackets that are exposed to give it some more support and added stability. All right, now we're going to go ahead and connect our air intake and our vent up on top. This house has already provided us with a concentric vent up here that goes out through one penetration. So we'll go ahead and use our Schedule 40 PVC in our fittings, and we'll secure those, and then we'll move on to the next step. With those connected, we're going to go ahead and tighten up our hose clamps. Everything looks good. Now let's move down to the lower section. Okay, let's start by connecting our incoming cold water connection, and then we'll do our hot water outgoing connection. Okay, we've made our hot and cold water connections here, and we've used the brass service valve that is not included with the water heater. Go ahead and install that with the unions, and then our pressure relief valve will be on the side connected to an outgoing pipe. Now we're going to go ahead and hook up our gas supply. Now this water heater is going to be running off of propane, and it comes ready to run off of natural gas. I've already converted this water heater over to propane using the included parts. Go ahead and connect our condensation line. Connect our condensation line. I'm simply going to use a barb fitting threaded onto the 1/2-inch threads on the bottom of the unit, and a hose clamp to secure it. Okay, to power on the heater, take your plug it into the wall outlet. Not into a power strip, not into a GFI or a GFCI plug, straight into a standard wall plug, and the water heater will come on. You'll hear it make some noise. And now we're going to go through programming. We'll show you how to set those. First thing we're going to do is set the water temperature. Let's see, looking at the display, we can see the lock indicator is not locked, so we can just go right into the settings, set point. We're going to hit enter, and we can go up and down. Okay, do that again. Settings, first option is set point, enter, and you go up and down for that. And you can turn this thing all the way up if you'd like, but depending on the incoming water temperature, it's not likely you'll need it that hot. We're going to set this one at 118 and then test it. So that's how you set the temperature. Recirculation pump. This unit has the internal recirculating pump. The default setting when you first power this on is going to be set to off or none. So to get to the circulating settings, we're going to go settings, and we're going to, I think we can actually scroll up, and it might be faster, maybe not. Right there is where we want to go. Tankless config, enter, recirc pump mode, enter. Now we have the performance setting. That'll kick the pump on every 15 to 30 minutes. You have the energy saver setting. That'll kick the pump on every 30 to 60 minutes. And then on demand, if you want to have an on-demand system, or you can run a schedule. We'll go through that in a minute. Here's the default setting, none. This unit is going to be set up with a bypass, the Grundfos bypass, in a master bath lavatory. So we're going to do the e-save. We'll back out of that. And just to note, if you're doing the on-demand, there's a couple of part numbers for a motion sensor kit or a wired push button. They do have Rheem part numbers. You can access those, or reference those rather, in your use and care manual, page 73. Okay, the Wi-Fi settings, let's go back to the main setting there. When you initially power this unit up, it will ask you if you want to set up the Wi-Fi. So if you set it up immediately, that's fine. If you don't, it's okay. You can just access the menu again at a later time. We've backed out of everything, so we've got the setting status service mode. Okay, it shows the temperature. Hit that status button, go up to Wi-Fi status, and you can Wi-Fi setup, and you're gonna hit enter. Now when you go to your Wi-Fi setup, it's gonna start to broadcast that Wi-Fi signal. You'll use your phone to sign on to that Wi-Fi, and then go to your app. You should already have downloaded the Ikonic app, and you can select to set that up. And when you get into your app on your Ikonic on your phone, you're going to see some illustrations of different options to pick. This is an Ikonic translator off of the older tankless unit. This is the picture you're going to see, and that's the one you'll select. There will be a few others on there that you can pick from that are referenced from other water heaters, and you won't see this specific picture referencing the Ikonic. So just pick the Ikonic. Looks just like that, should be in the upper left-hand corner, and then you can follow the instructions to go ahead and get that set up. Once you get the Ikonic set up on your phone, you should have an icon just like that, and you'll be able to see your water heater. Once you access your Ikonic app on your smart device, you can go in and look at a few different menus that'll give you some information. Locations and products will show the different items you have programmed on your app, and you can go in. This screen will show you if you're selecting something to program. We'll give you the different options, and you pick which icon matches your product. This will also give you an option to have different locations. Now on your products or the equipment you have on your app, this one right here is an older high efficiency model. You can see some information. There's going to be energy consumption and bar graphs associated with that. You can select monthly, daily, weekly, or yearly, and you can push the back arrows if you want to see past bar graphs. You can see the water usage or energy usage and switch between that. And here on the Ikonic, you'll see there's a lot of different options, or more than there were on the older high efficiency. Here you can program your schedule for your circulating pump. We have ours on a Grundfos crossover and on the energy saver, so it just runs every 30 to 60 minutes. We can switch that over. If we have a dedicated line, or even on the crossover, we could switch that over onto a program if we chose to do so, if we didn't want it running at certain times. But same information here as well. You can go back to the yearly, monthly, daily, weekly, and scroll backwards if you need to, if you want to compare months. Settings will allow you to access some information. You can set your elevation, sea level here, and you can put the pump on which performance setting you'd like. We have this one on energy saver. Take your temperature and change that. If it's a winter month, you might have the temperature a little bit higher. We're going to set ours at 118, and that's it for the app. Pretty simple. Okay, the product we're using is Big Blue Micro Leak Detector. They sell lots of gas leak detectors in this form. It's basically soapy water. You spray it on your connections. And if you have a leak, you are going to see a lot of bubbles. So I'm just going to get all of these fittings. It's a little bit messy. They have a different product also called Mega Bubbles, and it has a little brush inside of there, and you can keep your job site a little bit cleaner. But I just want to inspect for leaks. I'm not too concerned about making a mess. I'll clean it up later. Now hopefully you don't have any leaks. If I do have one here today, I'll be able to show you what it does. It's unmistakable. It'll produce millions of tiny little bubbles. So we'll let that sit for a second. Oh, look at that. This is great. Let's see if I can zoom in on this here. That right there, that is a gas leak. Now, this is all new and the fittings have been Teflon taped, so we'll likely just have to tighten that up and recheck it. If any of the fittings were old or had been in service for years, I would suggest taking them apart and resealing them, inspecting them, making sure they don't need to be replaced. These are new, they're Teflon taped. It's likely that just didn't get tightened down, just overlooked. And we'll just say I did that on purpose so that we could demonstrate a gas leak. And we're going to use our crescent wrench. And yeah, and this was just not tightened up. All right. Let's try that again. Get some good lighting on there. And as expected, as you can see, if you properly tighten your fittings, they don't leak. Okay, very excited that we have an internal circulation system on a Rheem water heater and we can use the bypass. This wasn't traditionally okay with all water heaters in the past. The new Iconic does allow you to use a bypass. You do use the Grundfuss bypass, and we're going to go ahead and install that now. We'll let this run for 24 hours, so stand by for part 2. We'll go over the performance, and then we'll get more in depth on the water heater and go over the sequence of operations.